Hello, Vera. I'm going to comment on your post. I thought you brought up a lot of really great points. Like you, I studied psychology for my undergrad. So, yeah, a lot of the behavior stuff is really interesting to me, too. You talked about pinpointing behaviors, and the example that you used was job descriptions being non-behaviors, like professionalism was the one you used, and what would professionalism use to you? And I think the same way you do, actually having that psychology background. I always used to say I'd love to give everybody the Big Five test for all hiring processes. So it's actually something, that way you know how to like uh, approach somebody with some different ideas, if you have some sort of understanding of what their behaviors are going to be. Actually had all of our direct employees just do the Big Five for fun, so we can understand just how to manage those specific employees. So really good points there. You also talked about one of your friends and a coworker of them, and at what cost does her behavior and lack of teamwork mean, even though that her results are really great. And I think that also brings up a really great question. I work in the government now, and one thing that I've noticed moving up along the ladders is that I feel like a lot of people like to do a lot of knowledge hoarding and things like that. Throwing people under the bus and stuff, just because they think, you know, the younger generations that are in our way up right now are somehow a threat to their jobs. So I think that you did a really good job talking about results. And then lastly, you were talking about core competencies and nonprofits competing with each other, which I think that's the one thing we differ in, is that I have found that nonprofits are incredibly competitive. When you think about the services that they are providing to the communities, they're great, but one thing that I've learned is that the people who run nonprofits have families and bills and things like that. So often I find things are really hyper competitive. There's really, if you've ever tried to do some data bridging or anything like that, many nonprofits are unwilling to share data, even between each other in the sector, just because it might give you a competitive edge on funding, or it might absorb them, and it just all comes back to selfish reasons. And unfortunately, it is what it is. So the book does talk about it. So I thought you brought up a good real life example. Thank you for sharing, and I hope you got something out of this. Bye.